Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. So I am very excited to get started today. I've been building this save for a while and I'm just super excited about it. But I'm going to be doing a decades challenge let's play, which is going to be very long because as you'll see in a minute, there's a lot that's involved with it, but I've always been a really big fan of history and this just really spoke to me. So I'm excited to get started. With this challenge, you basically you can start with either a single sim or a married couple, and you live with them and take them through the decades. You start in the 1890s and then you go all the way up to, I believe it is present day, like 2010. I mean, we're in like 2021 now, but and there's all these different rules that we have to comply with each decade in terms of what items you can use, what how much money you can have, and the rules of conventional behavior. So yeah, it's deeply involved and super exciting, and I'm sure you've seen other people playing this challenge, but I thought I would give a whack at it just because it's something that is right up my alley. So I'm actually starting with a male sim, unmarried. However, he is renting a unit from Mr. Sterling Mayweather, who is a businessman who has made his fortune. Now, true to the time period, mixed families were kind of frowned upon. We know this, historically bad. We aren't sanctioning those conventions. However, we do want to stay true to some of the social ideas in the time period. Now, having said that, we all know that black-white relationships and other mixed relationships, or interracial relationships, did happen between people, sometimes unwillingly. In the case of um, slave owners and the enslaved. But whether that relationship was willing or unwilling, children would result. And if that child was white passing, they had a better start in life. And even if they weren't white passing, oftentimes just by the sheer fortune of being related to somebody white, they had a better life. So there was this new sort of class of person kind of emerging from those relationships. They had derogatory terms, like mulatto and other phrases. Um, so while a guy like Sterling, who is mixed race, wouldn't exactly be accepted into um, the top society, he wouldn't be relegated to the place of, someone who was darker skinned either. Life was still hard for them. They kind of had to like etch their way in the middle, torn between these two worlds. But privilege is privilege. Like having a rich daddy pays off. So Mr. Sterling has taken the few pounds that his father left him and made something of himself. He has married Bernice, and they have had a whole brood of children. Their oldest daughter is Alice, who is a lovely young woman. She is our second protagonist. But that's her winter outfit. So here's Alice's everyday, her formal. So when people did activities back then, they didn't actually dress down, they dressed up. And, sporting events were kind of an event. So they wanted to look good and impress people. Here are her underthings. Here's a party outfit for her. Oh, we want to take off this makeup because wouldn't want to go out with a completely painted face like that. That would lead people to believe that you were something um, other than a good, respectable girl. Hot weather, and we're back to cold. Their second born child is Jacob. He is the heir. Now, heirs are very important in this challenge because only males, at the start of the challenge, only males can inherit property. So it's a big deal for the family to try and have boys. or otherwise the girls will have to get married. I mean, women will have to get married anyway, and they can only live at home with their parents until they do. But if they don't manage to have a boy or the boy ends up dying, more on that later, um, then the property goes to the husband of the eldest daughter. But yeah, so there's her brother, Jacob, and then she has a teenage sister, Gertrude. And then there is Thaddeus, the spare heir. You know how they say an heir and a spare? And last but not least, there's little Walter. So the Mayweathers are set up for success in terms of what will happen to the family fortune. And now we're back to our protagonist, Edward. We'll just go through his outfits real quick. Edward is a vet. We love to see it. All right, so Edward is our protagonist. He's the sim that we will be following and enacting the challenge with. Now, I wanted to start with a single sim and try and get him married to Alice, largely because like I'd started with these two sims in the save already, and I had wanted to get them together. And then when I, came across this challenge, I was like, they would be perfect for it. So we started with Alice and Edward, and I built Alice's family around her. Now, to make this storyline spicy, we love the spice. Obviously, Alice is a little bit of a higher class than for Edward because her father is wealthy and he's obviously trying to advance his family. Now, Sterling is kind of like we kind of went over before. He's kind of caught between the stigmas of being a black man, but also having the privilege of being lighter skinned. And he's really focused on moving his family up the social ladder. And a lot of times, it goes without saying that a lot of times, a lot of mixed race children in this era would also want their children to marry other either white individuals or other mixed race people to keep their skin light and to keep their
That's racist.
It's kind of terrible to say, but it was the honest truth, to keep them moving up the social ladder. Because the lighter the child, the more the privilege. So the challenge will be to get Edward married to Alice, even though Alice's parents really don't like him, and to take them through the decades. So I hope you guys are getting as excited as I am. There's going to be lots of drama, lots of twists and turns. We'd love to see it. Downton Abbey, who? It's going to be super long, but super fun. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and thank you for watching.